Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I want to talk to you about 3 different types of palettes or mixing surfaces, being plastic, metal, and porcelain or ceramic. And I want to just talk a little bit about the differences between them that I have discovered, as well as which is my favorite to use. So we're going to start with probably the most common / popular / affordable option, which would be the plastic palette. This one I use to keep my Shinhan watercolors in. I believe this well holds something like 30 colors, and then the set is 36 colors, 24, I don't remember, something like that. But I just wanted to show this one to you. It's my biggest plastic palette, and if you see any tiny little hairs floating around like that one, they're usually fibers from my calligraphy brushes because they shed sometimes. So what I wanted to show you here, you can see, is that the color kind of beads up and pools together just a bit. Now this palette has seen a lot of use and a lot of mixing done on it, so it's not as severe as a brand new palette would be, but there is still some beading. The primary issue that I have found, and the primary drawback to the plastic palette, is this, which you're seeing now, is staining. So you can tell that I was using cool colors on the right and warm colors on the left, and even if my water was a little bit dirty, you can see that that stain isn't easily going to come up. Now you can use like a polymer eraser, like a standard eraser, to erase the stains, which sounds a little bit crazy, but it does technically work. And you can do this if you're scrubbing out a palette, like if you had emptied a palette and you're planning to use it for something else. This will remove a large percentage, I'd say like 90% of the stains you can remove this way, but I find that just kind of takes a lot of time. And if you're just cleaning your palette, then you have all these little eraser bits and you don't want them to get stuck in your paint. So the 2 palettes I have here are the exact same palette. I got them both at the same time from the same store. The one on the right I treated and prepped by scrubbing it with toothpaste and a toothbrush. So as you can see, I think it does make a little bit of a difference. I actually think it does help with the pooling up and the beading of the color a bit, and I was fascinated. As soon as I opened this one, I just scrubbed it with toothpaste, and I think somehow it actually helped, which is interesting and kind of strange, but it was really fun walking around scrubbing a palette with with a toothbrush and some toothpaste. The next type of palette that I want to talk about, or mixing surface, is a metal tin palette / mixing surface thing. So this one is where I keep my Schmincke paints and also my cheap Arteza paints, which I'm probably going to just dump out and throw away soon, unfortunately. But as you can see here, we've still got a little bit of pooling, which is, and you're probably saying, why are you even like making note of that? It's totally normal for water to pool, and you can see it might be a little bit less than the plastic palette, maybe a tiny bit, but the water just wants to be together, it wants to pool. So you might be thinking, why are you even mentioning that? It's normal, but we'll get to that in a second. And as you can see here, I'd say there's probably a bit less staining on the metal tin. Now the colors that I lifted out of here today, those had been sitting there dried for weeks, maybe even a month. So if they were going to stain, they definitely would have. There is a little bit of discoloration, but not as much as the plastic palette. Now we're going to move on to porcelain mixing surfaces, and this is not an official palette. This is just a serving plate that I found online for like $3, because it's kind of difficult for me to find porcelain palettes that suit my needs and the way I like to paint. And oh my goodness, there's another hair. There's just hairs all over. I'll get it. Don't worry. I'll get it. I got it. So what you may be able to see at this point is that this is very different in the way that the color pools, in that it just kind of reactivates and stays where you set it. The best way to see this, of course, is going to be with an actual example. So I've got plastic on the right and porcelain on the left, so you can see how the color reacts so differently On the right, there's a lot more beating up of the color, and on the left, it just stays where it reactivates. It creates this really nice, luxurious mixing experience. And my favorite difference that you just saw there is that we don't have staining. So with a porcelain palette, those colors, when I lift them up and I clean that palette, it's going to be clean when I'm done. It's just going to be clean, and it won't be stained. Okay, so this giant beast of a palette that you're seeing now, I got this American Journey giant 31 well palette, I believe, from Cheap Joe's Art Supplies. Thank you so much, Denise from In Liquid Color, for telling me about this palette. I think she got it like a long time ago, and I was just kind of stalking her YouTube channel and going through tons and tons of her videos, and I saw this palette, and I've been wanting to get it for months, and I finally did, and I'm so excited about it. Yay! And okay, I'm moving my Daniel Smith paints into this palette. I've talked about these paints before in my top 3 favorite brands of watercolors, and my favorite thing about this plastic palette, even though it's plastic and I'm not super fond of it, this is like the Magello Fusion Bulletproof blah blah 33 well palette. You may have noticed I just plucked this paint right out of the palette. Now, because of the way these wells are shaped and because of the consistency of these paints and the way they dry, they're almost like rubber and they reactivate perfectly, but they come out of this palette so easily. Like, look, I can just literally just stick my finger under here and peel this right out. It's so incredibly satisfying to do. So when I've gotten new Daniel Smith colors, I have easily up to this point been able to shift things around and move them, and now that's not going to be the same in this new porcelain palette, especially because the wells aren't rounded in the porcelain, and I just think because it's not plastic it probably won't be as easy to do. But it's an incredibly satisfying experience to peel all of these guys out of here and have these tiny little pads of paint. And also I don't have to like waste my tube paints of Daniel Smith by just pouring new paint into this palette and having 2 Daniel Smith palettes with the exact same colors in them. I can just move them and I can save this paint, and it's easy, and I don't have to make it wet and then move things. And if, like you can see here, if I need to shift my colors, I can just pick things up and move them. And this is probably the only time it's ever going to be this easy to pick these paints up and move them. But I am definitely taking advantage of it and relishing in the ease and the enjoyment of picking up pads of paint and not making a complete mess of myself and feeling like I'm just, you know, just a total mess working on, because usually moving paints out of a palette can be such a hassle, but this is so easy. So I recommend the Magello plastic palette if you're looking for something, you know, that would be easier to move, but has lots of wells, and this one also has lots of little mixing trays. This tray comes out, and it also has another tray that goes in that other side. I was actually using the bottom part of that for gouache. So now I have an empty palette. I have no idea what I'll put in the plastic one, but I'm really excited. And these stickers, I love these stickers. I will leave links to Sketching Scarlet and Danica Sills, who those stickers are by. They're amazing. I love both of those artists. And in order to adhere these paints to their new home, I'm just going to spray them with water. The paints will reactivate just enough to kind of act like glue. That's what I meant to say. It will act like glue to help them to stick. So I really love porcelain the best, guys, because it doesn't stain and it's just a more luxurious experience for mixing. I have some little ones too that I have used for gouache in the past, but also for watercolors, and I really enjoy them. Thank you guys so much, so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I would love to hear what you guys think about different mixing surfaces. I will leave links to all of the palettes, as many of the things as I can, in the description box. So if there's anything else you're looking for, just let me know in the comments and I will let you know where it came from. And I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful week and weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye!